Okay, we're beginning the second class in the Mesillat Yesharim based on the Bulvavi Mishkan Evna commentary. We're in the introduction of the Bulvavi, and he discussed yesterday the idea of abridged texts that give you a very brief synopsis and brings you directly to the aspect you want to understand, the halacha l'maisa, the practical application. Instead of going through all the complicated, in-depth analysis to the sources, there is a number of books have been written that are abridged versions of what is the halacha that you need. And he's not a big fan of these abridged versions. Of course, a person who works all day long and has little time to learn and needs to know what to do in terms of mitzvah observance, there may be a place for this. But the main focus was this exception to the fact that books in terms of avodas Hashem, in terms of your service to Hashem, in terms of midos development, character development, that it's not appropriate to be satisfied with these abridged versions. And he began to explain why. And he says that when you look at your avodas Hashem needs in-depth analysis. And the reason why this is so is if you just know what to do in terms of avodas Hashem, in terms of midos, it really doesn't get to the core of who you are and what you are. And learning, 10 steps of what to do when you get angry is not exactly the solution. The solution is getting deep into the person. And why this is such an important aspect is because the Torah that we learn, which is our connection to Hashem, which is the whole basis of how we live our lives as Jews, the Torah that we learn has to be something that is very internal in us, as opposed to getting a direct deposit into the bank, which means we own the information, but it isn't who and what we are. Learning Torah has to become who and what we are. And if you just pick up information and put it in your bank, as it were, and doesn't get absorbed into who and what you are, it won't take effect. And he gave the analogy of that Torah is like water, and water is poured into a cup, is poured into a utensil, and the utensil has to be clean so that the water going in will be clean. So that's where we left off in terms of the analogy. So we're on page Daled in the fourth line from the top. And so the person is the same thing. The person has to be the utensil upon which the Torah comes in, and if the utensil isn't clean, the Torah will not be able to be a clean Torah as well. So he concludes this idea. If God forbid the person is dirty, she said, Teva Yitziras Ha'adam, because that is the nature of all of us. As the Torah says at the end of Parshas Bereshis, Ki Yetzer Leiv Ha'adam Ra Min Urav, because the inclination of man, of the heart of man, is evil from his youth. So we see. We all start off this way. So we have to work on changing that Ra into Tov. Haresha HaTorah HaKedosha. We see that the Holy Torah, Hamayim HaTahorim Kivyachol, as it were, the holy water, Nichnasin L'toch HaKli Shezeh HaAdam, it enters into the utensil, which is the person. V'kiven Sha'Kli Achor, and since the utensil is dirty, Chas v'sholom HaTorah miskabelas etzlo v'tzura achura. So it comes in, the Torah is received by him in a dirty way. So vadesh HaTorah atzma ein nifkemes u'tfishosa koi. Obviously the Torah itself is always holy. Torah itself cannot be unholy. But here's the point: or HaTorah eis la'adam eino meir karoi. But the light of the Torah will not illuminate into the person properly. You could You can take medicine, and medicine should have, a potent medicine should be able to have the effect you want it to have. But let's say you're taking other medicines, or other things you're eating, which could render the medicine's effect to be useless. So the Torah itself is Torah. The words of Chumash, the words of Gemara is beautiful, it's powerful. But the shine of that Torah will not be able to penetrate into the filth of the person. V'yeduim divrei hagra she'atorah nimshala l'mayim. So the Vilna Gaon's well-known vort that the Torah is compared to water, and here's the point. V'imzorim kotzim, what happens if you water a thorn bush? Somchim kotzim gedolim yoser, you grow bigger thorns. V'imzorim chitim, but if you plant wheat, somchim chitim gedolim yoser, you get bigger wheat. So Torah is the water. Depends what you're watering. If a person has a big ego, a thorny ego, so if you learn a lot of Torah, all that Torah will do will make you have a bigger ego. Because you say, oh, look how much Torah I know. Everyone has to respect me even more. So you're watering a thorn that's only going to get worse. On the other hand, the person has the right midos, then the Torah is watering something very beautiful. Fantastic mashal he gives over there. Right? Question?
So how you clean the utensils?
That's what this whole book, that's what Mesillat Yesharim is all about. Musar is cleaning the utensil.
And it has to start with wrong.
What?
Start with wrong.
The person starts from the get-go, has got to fix himself up. Got to fix yourself up. That's why in the Torah, the 5 books of Moshe, before we get to one halacha, you get to the story of the patriarchs and the Jewish people. And the patriarchs specifically worked on their midos. Once the midos are taken care of, once chesed is proper chesed, and gvura is proper gvura, and tiferes is proper tiferes, now you're ready to learn the laws of the Torah. Just like we're counting Sfira now, we want to receive the Torah in about 4 weeks. How can you receive the Torah if you haven't worked through your midos? So if you work through your midos, that's what the learning of Musar is all about. And that it was able to get rid of the thorns, make the receptacle a beautiful receptacle. Okay, that's the whole point.
So it sounds like a chicken and egg situation, though, because where do you get that motivation to change your midos? Isn't learning Torah what drives you to work on your midos?
All right, so let's just hold on. You'll see the next section is, I believe, will answer your question. Okay, well, that's first the chicken or the egg, right? Torah should inspire you to learn better midos. So how's that going to work? We'll see. Next paragraph. Tikkun hamidos v'hanhagos heim binyan hakli. Repairing one's midos and one's conduct, that is the building of the utensil. Im hakli zach, if the utensil is clean, ha-Torah hi Torah's emesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu nata b'socheinu b'socharo. Then the Torah that you learn is Hashem's true Torah that He implanted within us, inside the person, b'socha adam. But if a person has an unclean utensil, the depth of this is not merely that he's lacking midos. He has no Torah. You could have factual information. You may have retained factual information, but you don't have the Torah inside of you. As the Birchas Torah says, "V'chaye olam nata b'sachenu," an eternal light Hashem has implanted within us, eternal life. That you don't have. The Torah can provide, but He doesn't have that. Adam Yoshev Alomed me'aboker ad alayla. A person sits and learns from morning to night. U'b'sof hayom nishar k'mo she'oy lifnei she'lamad. That person can remain the same person he was before he started learning. You can't say he totally didn't change. It's better to learn other things. I wouldn't agree with that statement. But he's losing the depth of the content that he is able to receive from engaging in the Holy Torah. So he's saying a person without any musar He could be learning Torah all day. He remains the same person. He's saying, well, not the same person. He's a little better. Not necessarily. I would disagree with that, because he just said that you could be watering thorns. If you're watering thorns, you're better off not to water the thorns. It's really based on the Gemara. The Gemara says that the Torah is samachayim liyaminim bo. It's an elixir of life to those who learn it with the right hand. It's a samamoves l'masmi'ilim bo. It's a poison to those who learn it with the left hand. It means if you're learning Torah properly, it's the elixir of life. Improperly, it's death. So the truth is, it's not so simple. It's not so simple. But clearly he's saying that Torah itself will be mostly ineffective of impacting the person if the person has not cleaned up his utensil. Okay. Now we're after the three little stars there.
I hope he explains this a little later, because it just as we made the comments before, that means that a person who's already stained with sins or whatever cannot even start this. Shouldn't start.
We have no hope.
There's no hope, exactly.
No.
Well, I hope it explains.
The hope is the learning of Musar.
Yeah, but how do you start to learn Musar if you're already stained and dirty? Then whatever you're going to learn is not going to be good.
There's a word called teshuvah.
Yes.
You say, I regret what I've done in the past.
Well,
now I'm going to start over. I'm going to work on my midos, and I'm going to work on improving myself.
So that's learning Torah. That's where you improve.
No, the midos, the musar. The musar is not the same kind of... Okay, well, let's read on.
Okay, we'll see.
It's going to get all explained. Just be a little patient. Okay, let's reflect a little bit on these words. Let's try to understand the proper connection, the proper relationship that one can draw out regarding the work on one's character. We know there's a statement that says that the learning of Torah is equal to all the other mitzvahs. The whole world was based and predicated on Torah, was founded on Torah. And the existence of the world depends on Torah. But if you talk to a person and discuss with him the need to repair any kind of midah, character, he thinks this is a side issue. He's not going to make great efforts to repair it. Let's give an example. Babayis in the house, typical Jewish home. If a small nail falls out of the wall, the homeowner is not in such a rush to fix it. Dear, I see the wall is beginning to, the paneling's beginning to come off a little bit. There's a couple nails. I can just knock in a couple nails and fix it up. It's not in a hurry to do that, right? Humamtin liyom shishi shein kollel. So if it's a yeshiva guy, he waits till Friday afternoon when there's no kollel, when there's time off, or lebein asmanim, or for vacation time, or for balabatim, we'll say Sunday, right? Right? If a nail falls off, it's not a problem in the house. Hatmuna tamod b'tzad kama yomim. Okay, here he's talking about a picture, whatever. The picture will still last. Because when I got time, I'll fix it. It's not urgent. Next page. Hey. What if we tell the person that one of the foundations is weak and the whole house can collapse any day? You can't delay working on fixing that foundation for vacation time. That's 4 months away. No. There's a strong concern that the house can collapse. So it depends how serious the nature of the problem is. That's how quickly a person will address the issue. So when a person tries to relate to his own personal service, so now, if you look at the development of one's midos as a nail that's fallen out of the wall, you could push off this service. Because it's not so important. There are more important things. But if you understand that this is the foundation of everything that you're all about, that that is the utensil everything's built upon. No, you can't push off that work with the excuse. Well, the rabbis say that learning Torah is opposite, is equal to everything. In other words, how much value do you put on character development? Is it like a nail that we can wait for, or is it the foundation to the home? So the person studying Torah says, listen, it says learning Torah is equal to everything. So I got to learn my Gemara, I got to learn my Chumash. It's equal to everything. You told us on the final exam, God's going to give us a thorough exam on all the Torah that we learn. I ain't got time for this Mesillat Yesharim business. I got to learn another Masechta. I got to learn Daf Yomi. I have to finish all of Shas in my lifetime. Enough time to delay that with the learning of Midos. Okay, it's true that he does have to know all of Shas. That's true. But the guy, you see why the guy doesn't think learning Musar is that important, because he thinks it's just it's a cherry on top. Okay, so you could have a cake without a cherry on top, no? The cake is the main thing. The cherry on top is a cherry on top. I could spend so much time looking for a maraschino cherry when I got to bake the cake. Oh, he's making a bit. Now here comes an important paragraph. Vada is not good when I put a star next to it, so you got to pay attention to it, right? Is that Vada shetal matar k'nei kulam? Certainly, learning Torah is equal to everything else, for sure. But and therefore, v'davka mishum kach alav lavod alaso. That's why he has to work on himself and work on his midos. Because the whole point of working on yourself and developing your midos is that you got a receptacle to receive all the Torah that is so important. Shulam and Nibokarev that you learn from morning till night. You're right, Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Learning Torah is the most important thing. So don't you think it's most important to have the right utensil that will retain the Torah? What are you going to do if you don't have a utensil to retain it? Right? If a person thinks making money is the most important thing in the world, okay? So how important would it be to have a bank account? Just open up an account. Is it important or not? Where are you going to put all the money that you made? Safely. Well, until recently. Right? Mattress. What are you going to do? I got all this money. You'll be lying around on the table here and the bedroom there. You better open up an account. The account will preserve the money. No? Not enough time to open up an account. I'm too busy making money. Just go to the bank. Open up an account. Pay the $12.95 service fee every month. Right? You got to do something to keep the money safe. Do you think money's important? Do you think Torah is important? Yeah, Torah is important. And what's going to hold it? You could learn it today and it just slips right through tomorrow. If you don't have a utensil to hold it. Or that Torah becomes dirty. It's not going to work. So because learning Torah is so important, therefore learning Musar is just as important. Michalowicz gives a different example. We know if you wake up in the morning, you don't wash Negelwasser 3 times. An evil spirit rests on your hands the whole day. Okay, it's something we can't physically understand. It's a metaphysical reality. But there's a tumah, an impurity on your hands and on everything you touch. You're going to learn Torah, you're going to be tamei. Your learning Torah is already in an impure state. So Amar Os Yehudi, so the Jew, would a Jew say, just because I didn't do one law of the Torah by washing my hands, you mean to tell me everything I'm learning during the day is going to appear differently? I says, yeah. A guy learns Torah without washing his hands in the morning, that's Tamei Torah he's learning. You got to wash your hands in the morning. You have to set the tone for the day in a spiritual way. That's exactly the point. Because we're not talking about nullifying one side mitzvah. To say that because of this one side mitzvah, I have no connection to Torah. No, we're not talking about a little itty bitty side issue. We're saying the person is Thu May. Torah cannot catch, cannot be absorbed into someone who's Thu May. You cannot say that working on your character development and on your avodas Hashem is one realm in life, and learning Torah is another realm in life. Lo, certainly not. It's exactly the same world. In other words, there's something called Talmud Torah, the learning of Torah. You know what the learning of Torah comprises? Yes, learning Gemara. Yes, learning Mishnayos. Yes, learning Chumash. And yes, learning Musar. That is as critical as a component as the learning of the Torah. When God will ask you on the final exam, did you learn Maseches Brachos? Yes. Hashem said, did you work on your anger? No. Then Hashem says, you didn't learn Maseches Brachos. You didn't learn Maseches Brachos. You have a dirty Masechta. It's a filthy Masechta. I want clean Masechtas from people. I want clean. I want. In other words, it's not just you learned the Torah. Did the Torah illuminate into your life and get absorbed into your kishkas and transform you? And that cannot happen if you don't work on your midos. So you learned the information. In other words, it's in your bank account, but it's not inside of you. And that's why it's equal. It's not just the information you're learning, it's how it gets assimilated into your bloodstream, into your soul. And that only happens if there's proper character development. So it's one entity, not two. It's not, okay, I'm learning Torah, and if I have time, I'll learn Musar. It's if you don't learn Musar, then you're not learning Torah. That's what it means. There were many people who were against the innovation of Rabbi Yisrael Salant. Rabbi Yisrael of Salant was the innovator of reestablishing the Musar movement of learning, spending some time in the day focused on a sefer of Musar like Mesillat Yesharim, let's say. There are those who were opposed to it and said you're wasting time from learning Torah. Because you're wasting time from learning Torah. Because they felt they felt there's like two yeshivas. There's two houses of study, they felt. Achad l'Talmud, one for Torah, one for ethical development. Not that they were arguing if it was necessary, but because they felt that there was no separation between these two worlds. I think it's a typo. It should be the opposite. There is a hafrada. It must be a typo. They didn't say that learning Musar wasn't important, but it's a separate entity. In other words, you don't do that in the middle of learning. Right? Either you say sheyesh hafrada or some kind of typo over there. It doesn't. The sentence doesn't make sense over there. This is the first edition. We have to see if there's any mistakes. I'll just say tzarech lomer yesh. Okay. Now he brings an interesting Marsha. Marsha was one of the commentaries on the Talmud. When he wrote his commentary on the Talmud, it's in the back of the big Gemaras, in the back of the big Gemaras. So he made it two parts. We know the Talmud has two parts. It's all one page after the other, but there's parts that relate to the halacha, and there's something else called Agadah. Agadah is more stories, ethical lessons. Does not relate to halacha l'maaseh, to actual Jewish law. So what he did was, when he wrote his commentary, he divided up into two parts. One is the Chidushe halachas, one is his insights into the law part of the Gemara, the Chidushe Agadot, and the other one is his insights into the stories and to the ethical parts of the Talmud. He did that. But Lipsof at the end, when he finished his work, he says he regrets that he separated them into two parts. They're not separated. It's one thing. Okay, that's the point. It's one thing. So we're learning the ethical part of the Talmud. Well, why did the rabbis, why did Ravina Ravashi write any of the ethical stuff in the Talmud? And we smack in the middle of a discussion of the Gemara, of a halachic thing. We've been talking about halacha over pages and pages, and then we bring a story with an ethical lesson. What are you missing that right into a law book? You imagine you go to your deep tomes of law books, your thick law books, and they have case after case and law after law, and then they say, being arrogant isn't good. Let's talk about arrogance for a little while. You ever find that in a law book? So what do I have to care about arrogance? I want to know what's this one versus this one. Let's know what's the Supreme Court's position on torts and this. What do I need to know about arrogance? Can you imagine, middle of a Gemara, they're having a discussions about this law, that law, this law. Take a break in discussion. Let's bring a story that we can learn an ethical lesson from. That's the whole point of it. The whole point of the Gemara was teaching us the same thing. They didn't write it in a separate book. Why didn't Ravina Rashi write two separate books? This is the halachic part of the Talmud, this is the God part of it. No, one flows right into the other. Page Vav. Histaklusu, this view, Shekivyachol Yeshnim Shnei Olamas, as it were, to say this like there's two worlds. Olam HaTorah v'Olam HaMusar, the world of Torah and the world of Musar. Olam HaVoda, which is Musar is the world of work, working on ourselves, becoming better people. Hisher Shatos, that's the root of the problem here. That we think it's two separate realms. If they are defined as two worlds, then you could say, well, learning Talmud is the most important. That's the bigger world. That's the world that takes priority, if they were two worlds. So consequently, it's not time to work on yourself. Or you could say, there's a rule, if you're engaged in one mitzvah, you're free from doing another mitzvah. I'm doing the mitzvah of learning Gemara. I don't have time to do the mitzvah of ethical development. So, you can have all different kinds of answers. If it was two worlds, but if we understand that the work on ourselves is part of the acquisition of the Torah that you have to have, then so you can't leave in the corner your work on self-development. Just like making a blessing before you learn Torah every morning, it's biblical. And before you learn Torah, I hope we've all said Birchas HaTorah this morning. Right? You have to say the blessings of the Torah. So, and you have to say them before you learn Torah. A person can't say to himself, I haven't got time to make the blessings. I got to be learning Torah. I can't make the blessings on Torah. I'm wasting time. That's a precious 3 minutes. I could have already been learning the first page. You can't say that, because that is part of the learning. You can't learn if you haven't made the blessing on it. So, therefore, the same thing when a person has to work on himself, his own self-development. Person has to understand, where is the true place of this work, and the place is included in learning Torah. A view that a person working on himself is just, it's a concept of nice conduct. So this is a view that's come from the non-Jewish world. Not from the Holy Torah. The Holy Torah doesn't tell us, well, it's nice to have good manners. It's a nice thing. That's a non-Jewish idea. Non-Jewish world, the main thing is you make money. You become powerful. Right? Manifest destiny. Okay, it'd be nice too if you're a friendly, likable guy. It's okay. But on the other hand, the big successful people that everybody listens to are the Donald Trumps and all these other fellows that are the lowest of the low. Because as long as he makes multi-million dollars and the Yankees win the World Series, then they love Donald Trump. Right? He owns the Yankees. George Steinbrenner. Sorry. Okay, I'm mixing them. One same.
We don't know if Donald Trump is a bad guy.
He's such an arrogant guy. Come on. Chucks the wives out for he gets a new model every year. New model every year. What's his name? Larry King. Larry King. They just say he's having his 8th divorce. Yeah, Larry King.
Divorcing again?
Yeah. So, but he's entertaining. That's the bottom line. It's okay. He's a lowlife. What do you care about? So it's a cherry on top. Okay. If it's just a nice person once in a while. Okay. But it's not the end of the day. The quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Chashva quarterback, they found that he was doing all kinds of disgusting things. So the NFL had to do something,
What club do you go to?
What?
What club do you go to?
I don't know, club. It's like, it's in the air. I'm telling you, you look now, every sports icon, one after, it never happened like this before. It's unbelievable. When you were a little kid, you thought Babe Ruth was a tzaddik, Yesod Olam, and you didn't know about his womanizing and this and that, and he dies from sexually transmitted diseases and all this stuff. It's all coming out now. The quarterback takes a underage girl at a bar and does what he does, and it's like mamish unbelievable, and it's a busha to the NFL. It's a busha. So that has to happen. And if they don't do anything, the truth is the whole NFL is a one stink pot. It's all it's all cheerleaders and this and that. It's all you go to the game. You go to the game in Buffalo. Half of them will come drunk to the game, right? And the other half are making passes at women during the game. That's the whole game, right? So never, but at least the players have to at least do what you do privately. They can't. So what they got? The main thing is a good quarterback, right? Yeah. Why did you mess it up by fooling around with this girl? So they had a discipline in Nebuch. They had a. Okay, so really what you should do is you should say you can never play football again. Well, you can't do that. There'll be no football. So you take okay, you can't play 6 games without pay. See, now we're taking it seriously. Big Ben goes down. Okay, it's like, is it really important? Does it matter? In the non-Jewish world, can you play? Can you throw the football? Okay, we'll give you $20 million to play, to do that. Doesn't matter. You don't have any role model. It'd be nice. They would like, it's always nice for the sport if the guy is a good role model and he goes to the inner city and helps the underprivileged kids and gives away his money to charity. They would really like such a guy. And of course, it's a cherry on the top. But if he's a schmo, it's okay. Just don't do it so bad that we have to throw you out. But that's in the non-Jewish world. You could say he was a great quarterback. Okay, he wasn't the greatest human being, but he will still go into the Hall of Fame. Right? And he should be in the Hall of Shame. But it is in the Hall of Fame. But a Jew, if he's not a mensch, it's Cornish. It's one the same as other. Yeah?
I think sounds like a ridiculous question, but I'm trying to understand in the Jewish world this idea that people could think that it's two separate things. Why, in their mind, why is Bereshit part of Chamisha from Sheitara if not...
In their mind? They don't think about the question.
They don't think about the question.
They don't think about the question.
Otherwise, really logically, all the stories should be part of the Midrash.
They don't think about the question, that's all. They don't think about the question. Oh, he continues. For a goy, for a non-Jew, he doesn't have the need that Torah should be saturated inside of him. So a non-Jew would think that working on your character, self-development, and there are self-help books. There's millions of self-help books out there. So how do you explain that? Well, the first explanation is it's only to make money. You don't think for 1 minute that anybody wants other... No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't be so strict. Don't think for 1 minute that most of the people involved in this care about other people. They're writing the book for one reason, and only one reason, to make money. I'd like to see someone write a self-help book and saying all the money, all the profit is going to help underprivileged children somewhere else. You may have one. They're all there. How am I going to make money? So you don't make money. There's enough women out there who care about their sense of self, and we'll get the women and we'll put the book on Oprah, and Oprah will pay Oprah to solicit the book, and we'll get all the ladies buying this book. Right? But it's an extra thing. Right? It's not a goal. Right? They're saying, okay, it's a goal in and of itself. It's a nice goal. So he shouldn't be an ox that damages. Elementive labrios, but rather he should help people. Ubal midos nochos, and he has good midos. Umisnai k'mosh and he acts like he should act. It'll be a nice thing. There's different Nobel Prizes. Right? You have a Nobel Prize in chemistry, a Nobel Prize in literature, and up is a Nobel Prize in peace. As if to say, it's different compartments. Okay, we got to find somebody who can bring some peace in the world. Right? But, it should be that the first criteria of being the Nobel Prize in chemistry is you're a peaceful guy. No. One has nothing to do with the other. It's different. It's a nice thing. If you're really good, we'll give you a Nobel Prize for it. But that isn't going to really make any money. That's really not going to make the economy go. That's really not that important. But we, the Jewish people, B'nai Avram, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Lanu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Nasan Es HaTorah Kedosha. Hashem gave us a holy Torah. V'Tovea Mitanu, and that requires from us, as Hashem said to Moshe when he was going to make the tablets, the second tablets, Pisol Lecha, engrave for yourself. What does that mean, Pisol Lecha? It doesn't only mean simply engrave the tablets made out of stone, but Tachin Lecha Kli Shebo Tishra HaTorah Kedosha. Prepare for yourself a utensil that the Torah can rest upon. Engrave yourself. Make yourself an engravement. And Hashem taught us in the Torah how to prepare the utensil. That's the whole story of the Avos, and that's what I said at the alternative class. When did I say it? I think it was last 2 Shabbos ago. One of the commentaries, why it's called Pirkei Avos. Why is it called Pirkei Avos? So the answer is because every lesson you find in Pirkei Avos is Musar. It's the first Musar book. It was in the Gemara. It's part of Shas. It's a Musar in the Shas, right? So they say that it's called Pirkei Avos, Ethics of the Fathers, to say that every moral lesson you have is sourced in the patriarch's actions, from beginning to end. Now that's a lot of lessons from one part of the book. The answer is you got to learn it properly. You'll find it's all in the Avos. So that's the biggest proof that the Musar is mamish in the first part of the Torah. All the Talmud, all that stuff just is expounding on what's in the Chumash. So you have a tractate expounding everything in Sefer Bereshis. So that's part of Torah. It's an essential part of it. Let's say a person takes a pitcher of water and wants to pour it into a cup. And the friend moves the cup as the water is pouring. What's going to happen with the water? It's going to fall on the ground. If you don't prepare for yourself a utensil, or if you prepare a dirty utensil, it's not a utensil to receive the Torah. Right? The only Torah is water. You don't have the essence of Torah then. Now we can understand how important it is to engaging ourselves in repairing our character. It's preparing a person to be fit for the Torah that we want to have. So that's why, for example, when you have stories of the Chavetz Chaim and others who would bring Chavetz Chaim, when he brought his work, the Chavetz Chaim, the book on Shmiras HaLashon, he brought it to a rabbi for an approbation. So the rabbi says, okay, leave it with me. Let me see. If I'll go through it. Meanwhile, the Chofetz Chaim leaves, so that rabbi calls one of his students, colleagues. He says, there's this guy, he's got this book on ethical speech. Do me a favor. Go meet him. Go start talking to him. And try your hardest to get him to speak Lashon Hara. Okay? So the guy goes to the Chofetz Chaim, and he says, Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Yidus said, so that he starts to talk Lashon Hara then. He says, so you're from Radnach, you're from Radnach. Yeah, I heard there's a big machlok, a big tumult over there. There's a big fight. Can you tell me about it? Rabbi Chaim said, I don't talk about those things. Let's talk about, you want to look at my sefer? He tried for 5 hours to get him to talk Lashon Hara. Right? Chofetz Chaim didn't say one word of Lashon Hara. So then the rabbi said, I can give my approbation on his book. Why couldn't you give an approbation if he was speaking Lashon Hara? Because the answer is, if he was speaking Lashon Hara, the book isn't worth 2 cents. Even though it's logical, maybe every word of Torah may be correct, but it's in a filthy book. That's why you have to be very careful when you buy Sfarim, when you buy books, and especially the people who aren't you see English books on Jewish topics. What's more important, what's written, is who wrote it. If it's not written by a God-fearing Jew, then you're reading a dirty book. Meaning to say a book with a dirty utensil. That's a dirty book. Because it's filth. It's written on filth. So be careful who the author is. And that's the biggest approbation, is the person who wrote it more than what he wrote and the style that he wrote. If the person's the right kind of person, he probably wrote, the Torah he has must be clean Torah. That's what's critical, not the person. As opposed to in universities, the moral ethics of the professor is not an issue at all. It's what can he publish? What can he publish? Can he publish well? Good. He's going to get enough articles in the New England Journal of Medicine. That's the kind of guy we want on staff over here. The fact that he's a womanizer and all that, couldn't care less. But do keep it quiet, because it could be a little bit embarrassing. But beyond that, we don't care. You can profess. That's all these things. The famous line. There was one philosopher. I forgot which one the story goes by. One philosopher who was really a disgusting person. They say, "How could you be such a disgusting person when you say such beautiful philosophy?" He says, "Well, there's me, the philosopher. There's me, the person. It's 2 different entities." As a philosopher, I say beautiful things. With a person, I'm a creep. Right? So in the non-Jewish world, that's fine. That's fine. But in the Jewish world, it doesn't go. Okay, let's just finish up the chapter. Everything we're talking about is an introduction. And why did I bother with this introduction, says the Balavi? He says, I want you to know that what we're going to learn is really the learning of Torah. Don't think, this is Musar class now. No, it's the real learning of Torah. Ulefi chelak min haposkim mavorchim al limudim birchas Torah. And according to this part of the poskim, we make a bracha on learning for that learning birchas Torah. So in other words, just like we say you have to make birchas Torah before you learn. In other words, this is the same Torah that we make the blessing of birchas Torah. In other words, we make the blessing before you learn Torah. You might think, well, I only make it if I'm going to learn Gemara. If I'm only learning Musar, I don't have to say the blessings of the Torah. He says, no, this is part of Torah that you have to, if this is all you're learning today, you also have to make a birchas of Torah. You can't learn this on Tisha B'Av either. You can't learn Torah on Tisha B'Av. Musar is Tisha B'Av. It's Torah. You can't learn that on Tisha B'Av either. Same Torah. And you say, why? Because it's not a side point. It's the utensil to receive the Torah. That's what we learn every day. We're going to make an effort to try to learn the book Mesillat Yesharim, as we have a tradition from the Vilna Gaon, who lived just a little bit after. I mean, at the same time, a little bit later. The Vilna Gaon says, this is a book that takes a person step by step to elevate himself. Certainly there are many works that were written by the early rabbis that are like angelic works. Kedugma Chavas Alvavos v'Sharei Tshuva, like the book Chavas Alvavos that we learned. Sharei Tshuva that we learned, the first section. Achem lo nivnu b'tzur magdregos, but they weren't built with stages. Mash'egen Sefer Mesillat Yesharim, shenivna kesulim shel aliyah. The book Mesillat Yesharim was written like a ladder that one can ascend. Shalav achrei shalav, level after level. B'derech ha'olah beis kel, like the way of one going to the house of God. So, Mirz Hashem, we at least understand now the value of learning this Musar, and what we're learning is no less considered Torah as any other aspect of Torah. So next week we'll begin the introduction of the Mesillat Yesharim with the Bovavi's commentary.